Hey, welcome back to the Big Sister Podcast, coming from a little sister. This is episode 3 of the 6-episode series, so we're halfway through. And today we're just going to dive into how to take care of your mind and body as a girl in your 20s when social media, life, and the world can be really overwhelming with advice and people telling you things to do and things not to do. So today we have, once again, my dear friend and roommate, Addie McAllister, and she's here to discuss coping and even finding some positives on the days that feel like the world is falling apart. So let's jump right in. The first topic we're going to talk about today is taking the time to feel and cope. So according to creator Will Keep It Real 2 on TikTok, it's important to take the time to heal. Otherwise, we're just going to end up burying our true feelings. So let's dive into it.
I hope you realize that it's okay to take your time and heal. Oftentimes, I feel like we put this unnecessary pressure on ourselves to speed up the healing process of the things we once cared for the most, to the point that all we end up really doing is burying that pain deep down inside of us, hoping that it never comes out again. Or we choose out of the many distractions that the world has to offer, such as partying, drinking, smoking, hoping that eventually the pain will just go away. But we never actually take the time to process what we're going through. Process our feelings, understand why we feel this way about the situation, understand why we care for it, understand the impact that it had on our life. See it as a situation that helped you become the person that you are today. What did it teach you? What's the lesson to take away from it? Because I promise you, when you start burying that pain and just avoiding it, hoping that it goes away, that's how you end up creating trauma for yourself and creating self-limiting fears that affect you in your future. Because anytime that situation or anything that even looks like it comes out in the future, you're going to run from it at all costs. Because now instead of seeing it as a situation you heal from, you see it as a situation you fear because you know the pain that comes with it. So please take the time to heal from the things that you once cared for the most. Because I promise you, running from it ain't going to do nothing but hurt you more in the future than you ever could have imagined. And that is real.
Okay, so I really agree with that video. I think there is a lot to think about and unpack. Because obviously in a TikTok, it's like a minute to like 2 minutes usually. And it's kind of quick and it's kind of like, whoa, whoa, you were right type of thing. But I completely agree. And I think that's a big issue in our world today. That's not necessarily like, I think, covered enough. There's a lot of pressure to stay busy and a lot of pressure to get things done, whether that be in athletics, a lot of pressure to constantly
be performing at your best.
Yeah, be like doing your best and like constantly training your best and training
pushing yourself.
Different parts, maybe training your mind to be like stronger with your sport, and like maybe training your body at the same time, and that can be a lot to take in. Whereas I know a lot of things with athletes is like injuries and not actually like taking the time to be like, I am injured and I need to take care of my body.
Yeah, instead of just
doing the best you can to immediately get back into the game.
Pushing through an injury when you need to sit back and like take a minute
and actually like
to
heal. Yeah.
And then not like pushing yourself immediately after you're cleared and taking your time to build up to the strength that you were once at. I know like with a lot of ACL injuries, it's very difficult for athletes to like get back into it, and like there's a lot of setbacks that happen. And
that can be like really hard.
Yeah, and they feel like very discouraged that they'll ever like get back to where they once were.
Yeah, and I think that even like in a non-athletic sense, thinking about it, like there's a lot of pressure to constantly like have good grades, or you need to be doing this, this, and this for your future. So this happens in the future. You need to be doing this, this, and this to reach this goal. And yes, that's important. And like, you should have goals and you should work hard. But I think it's also important to slow down. And I think that goes kind of back to our first episode of just floating through life. Of if you're constantly just going and going and going, you're not really living. And you can do that while reaching your goals.
Yeah. I will say from like a personal situation that happened, I was like, before we moved back, I was very like, I like loved my job that I'd gotten over the summer, and like I had kind of gotten into the routine of being there like almost every day, and like I was like very, very sad to not be working there every single day. Like I wanted to just pick up the shop and come with me, but I hadn't really like sat down and thought about it because I had been working so much. And like I was fine with that. My goal was to make a lot of money before I came back to school because I need it. And like the night before I moved back, when I was like in the middle of packing, I like had time to think, and I literally like started sobbing about like my friends that had graduated the year before, because like all the girls I'd lived with the past 2 years were all seniors, and that just kind of like wasn't something I'd really thought about. I thought I was gonna cry like at their graduation, but I didn't even like shed a tear, or my eyes didn't water. And so it just kind of had like been built up. And then about 3 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, I had just like not been feeling great like mentally really, and I saw some people, not a fan of them. We were friends, and then just had a falling out, and it just kind of triggered a lot of things I'd been feeling and thinking about, and just kind of been pushing them away and not thinking about, and ended up crying about it and just like talking to my friends about it, and it kind of evolved more into just like not only being sad about like that friendship ending, but also feeling like finally saying that I've been feeling like I should have graduated last year, and that I didn't really want to come back this year just because of like that feeling. And like I'm kind of tired of being in school, if I'm being honest. I'm ready to get out in the real world, and I'll probably eat my words in 2 years when I am actually out in the real world. But yeah, after I'd like finally said that and expressed what I'd been thinking, I felt like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and I felt a lot better. I felt like I was finally like able to enjoy everything, and like enjoy everything that we have been doing so far in the year. And yeah, it kind of ties into the first episode of like not floating through life. I felt like I was kind of like the first 2-3 weeks of school feel like a blur, honestly. And yeah,
I think that I agree. I think a lot of things that I struggle with is the keeping busy, like I was talking about, and I really relate to that of the working. Because I definitely struggle, and it's kind of just how I was raised, was because if anyone knows my mother, they know that she is working all of the time.
same.
And so it's kind of like when you're not raised on the fact of when something happens when you're little, and it's like, okay, like, why do you feel this way? Like, let's take a second. Which a lot of times, like, it's not how a lot of people, I feel like, are raised. So it's kind of hard to kind of learn how to do that. But it's definitely a lot healthier, because then you don't end up, I know for me, I end up kind of taking it out on others, even in the sense of not necessarily like lashing out or anything, but like in the sense of separating the fact of, which he kind of talked about in the video, separating the fact of what happened in the past is not with like certain people is not what's happening with certain people in the present.
Yeah.
And everything. And I think I struggle a lot with that, to separate people, because a lot of it's on fear of getting hurt again. But I do agree that that mindset kind of changes when you think about it.
Yeah.
You're growing from it. And I think a good thing to think about always is, even when every time something's like hurting you, you're growing in a sense.
Yeah, you're learning some sort of lesson about like yourself or about others.
Yeah, you have to trim your hair. Trim the dead ends off your hair to make it grow longer. You do the same thing with like a bush, don't you? With like a tree. You can trim it a little bit to make it grow more.
Yeah, but
It's like
sometimes...
But you can cut it too much.
Yeah, you can cut it too much. My mom did that. Her bushes never grew back.
Yeah.
So she had to plant new ones.
That can happen too. So like, be careful with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a big thing to just like slow down.
Yeah.
In your life at times, and like,
and recognize like when you are sort of pushing things down, pushing like your feelings, emotions down, and like it can be really hard. I'm obviously still learning how to like not do that and not push down how I'm feeling, but it again ties in with the last episode of like being around people that you're comfortable with and being able to fully express yourself and feel comfortable enough to talk to them about what you are feeling and
even like speak out if you're like, if someone's like says something or does something that upsets you, it's okay to have to like take a second and like there's been plenty of times where I get upset and I need to just like take a step back. Like, no one needs to be around me. And if you are like, the other day I was upset and my friend started talking and I literally was like, I pushed my hair back and I can't do this right now. I'm overstimulated. Like, sometimes it's okay. You just need a second to like breathe and think, because it happens.
It does.
But also like learning how to just kind of like immediately kind of nip it in the bud and like talk about it, which can be a really hard learning curve.
Yeah.
And
it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
I'm also one of those
that I will sit there and just give you little hints and cues that I'm mad at you, and you have to pick up on it. And if you don't, then that is on you, and I'm probably going to get more mad at you.
Yeah.
When I have recently been catching myself a lot where I'm just like, nope, and then I say something and it's all fine. And it's all figured out within a second.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is just like, again, a lot of this is all learning curves.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of life is genuinely just learning curves.
Yeah.
But I think it is sometimes like nice to hear those things, because sometimes it can be a little bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah. And it also, like, personally, I feel like a lot of, just from like movies and shows that I watched when I was younger, I felt like a lot of people had their life figured out at like 21.
Yeah.
And really that just is not the case. Everyone is still learning. And like, I've seen, like, with TikTok being so popular, it's easier for people to like access stuff and also share their own stories. Like, I've seen so many people that have had to completely restart their lives basically, and like will move back in with their parents, which is 100% fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And I feel like it's really helpful to normalize that and normalize setbacks, because a lot of these things are things you can't control.
Yeah, I agree. So let's move into some advice from Instagram. Mental Health Ireland states that it's okay to disconnect from the world to heal. So let's look at that.
I agree.
Okay, so
yeah, I think it is really important to know like when you need to take a break from social media, from like doom scrolling.
Yeah, I think too, even tying into what you just were talking about, of sometimes people have to like start their life over and move in with their parents again. That's fine, because like that's fine to take that, and it's okay to take maybe like, obviously with moderation, of like be aware of your situation and like what's going on in your life, but it's okay to take like maybe a gap semester or a gap year and like take some time And even if that means, like, a gap from, like, school and maybe you just get, like, a part-time job or something, that you're still, like, bringing in money.
Yeah.
But because I know that not everyone, like, necessarily has the privilege of
Just
taking
being-
that time. But finding ways, even, like, within your daily life, if you can't drop out of school for a semester, you can't, like, quit your job for a year or even,
Yeah.
like, a short amount of time, taking that time to, like, maybe you find that nature is really calming for you.
Yeah.
And you can go take, like, a 5-minute walk at the end of your day or something.
Yeah, or go on, like, a hike or something. Go
Yeah.
visit a waterfall.
I know for me, driving, which this is not financially well or good for the environment. I'm so sorry, guys. But I like taking drives, and it's literally, like, it's forcing me to put my phone down, have music playing, and kind of just, like, thinking about my feelings and without any, like, distractions of other people around me or who's going to see me upset right now because I'm on, which maybe this isn't actually that safe either.
Because you're, like, crying while driving.
Yeah, and, like, on back roads and stuff. But I know the roads really well. So
we
it's
don't
okay.
recommend any of this.
Yeah, we're not trained professionals.
We're not. Don't try this at home, kids.
We're just, oh my gosh, I want to say teenage girls. We're just girls.
We're just college girls.
Yep. In our 20s.
Oh, that makes me sick.
Yeah. In our 20s, so we don't
Yeah.
recommend any of this.
Another, like, way that I disconnect, I guess, is when we go to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I'll occasionally scroll or something while I'm, like, resting in between sets, but for the majority of it, I'm thinking about, like, what I need to do to be stronger and, like, have a better lift.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, that's not really thinking about, like, my emotions per se, but
But, like, taking a second away from necessarily stress. Like, doing
Yeah.
something that relieves stress,
Yeah.
basically.
basically.
Yeah. And I agree. I think I'm getting into that because I used to be terrified of the gym. So even, like, when I started going with Addie, I was really concerned about my form. And I'm always just kind of, like, aware of what's going on around me. Like, so it,
Yeah.
like, stresses me out a bit. But I'm definitely getting better. I catch myself sitting there in between sets just staring at the ground thinking.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta zone out.
So, you know, and that's a good thing. It's good to, like, take that time and disconnect from the world. And I think even when you're busy, even if it means taking 5 minutes to, I just had a light bulb. I don't know how many viewers watch this. Therapist with Jake Shane. Sorry, he just did a podcast with, I really like him. And he just did a podcast with Dylan Efron. And they talked about journaling. And Dylan Efron recommended to Jake that he journal. And he says he actually journals, like, every day. I think that that's great. And I think that's a really great way to kind of disconnect from the world and heal. Just, like, writing down or even typing if you prefer typing. Maybe you record a little voice memo in a journal about your day or something. Or, like, I think that's great. I think it obviously depends on person to person. These are all
Yeah.
just, like, great ways. But finding your personal way to do that. I mean, in
Yeah.
the podcast, they literally, like, Dylan Efron says that, and Jake was like, I've tried. I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who also can't.
Yeah, same.
But I think that that's, like, whatever way that may be. Maybe it's gaming for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's reading a book.
Both of our partners love to game.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if it's, like, their way of relieving stress because they both yell a lot,
Yeah.
but they love to do it.
I also do some gaming, and I
I
can
don't.
see how mine does not relieve any stress for me personally. If anything,
Are you talking about Clash Royale?
Yeah. It does not relieve stress for me, actually, but
It doesn't.
it does disconnect me from the social world. I think a big part, too, with figuring out what advice on social media is, like, helpful for you, is putting your phone down.
Yeah.
Like Addie said, stop the doom scrolling.
Yeah.
I
catch
did
myself a lot just doom scrolling.
Yeah,
I'm actually considering putting like a time limit, like parental controls on my phone, so TikTok shuts off after a certain amount of hours.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't?
Mine accidentally got set to that. I don't know how it happened, and I have an hour limit every day on TikTok, but I have a password, and so I just typed that little password in and pretend it didn't happen.
See, I fear that's what I'm gonna do.
But I think that, like, to a part of it, I lost my train of thought. It was about the doom scrolling, though. Yeah, like, put the phone down. Over the summer, I didn't get a job this summer. Because, and I'm very privileged that I don't have to do that, but I didn't get a job this summer because I had some plans to, like, travel, and it was pretty much, like, a week or two out of each month that I was traveling, and we're only home for, like, 3 months, so I was like, who's gonna hire me? And I found, and I also had a lot of things that I needed to go through at my house that hadn't been, like, cleaned or organized in years that I needed to go through. So I spent a lot of time doing that, but I found myself spending a lot of time on social media, and I actually learned my mental health plummeted due to that, because I wasn't necessarily, like, getting a lot of social time necessarily with people, especially, like, people like my peers, besides when I was, like, traveling. But I was having, like, a lot of time just by myself scrolling through TikTok, and a lot of those little things on TikTok I'd see, and I'd immediately just, like, would soak into my brain, and I'd start overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, I'd see something that says, like, if your friends aren't doing this, this, and this for you, then they need to be out of your life. And then I'm sitting there thinking about that when it's like, this doesn't even apply to my life at all, actually. Like, so I think there's a lot of that, of catching yourself in those moments of, okay, this is not good for me. And I think this is really hard. I'm really proud of, as the title of the podcast is, I'm a little sister. And I really look up to my older sister a lot, and she actually deleted all of her social media a few years ago, and she's still not on it. And I think it's so cool to see, because she's always been her own unique person, and kind of different, but I think that you can tell that a lot of her, like, she's kind of, like, blossomed to do really her own thing, even with, like, parenting and stuff, and not that social media is not helpful, but, like, taking that step back and being like, this isn't healthy for me and everything in my, like, family. And you can see that it's, like, for her that really works, and I think that's important to, like, call that out, and I'm obviously really proud of her for doing that, because I can't even think about the struggle that I would have to put TikTok away.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully one day we reach that stage.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't see it being anytime soon.
So let's dive into the next point. This is really big, the importance of having self-compassion. So let's start with TikTok. The contentment creator suggests that by practicing self-compassion, we're more successful. So let's watch it.
Radical self-compassion lets us fail forward. It reminds us that mistakes are not verdicts on our worth, but stepping stones to growth. It's also what allows us to detach our self-worth from our productivity. This is crucial for creators, because when you're running on self-loathing, success becomes the ultimate validation. But with self-compassion, success becomes a natural byproduct of a well-loved soul.
Okay, so obviously there's like a lot in that video as well, even though it's such a short clip. But I completely agree that when we practice self-compassion, we're more successful. I mean, in general, when you love yourself, you're gonna be a happier person, you're gonna be a healthier person, and you're gonna be a more confident person.
Yeah.
And I think that when you are happier and healthier and more confident with yourself, you're gonna get more done. Because, I mean, I've literally had, like, personal experience with it. I feel like last year, at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't say I wasn't happy, because I was happy. And I would say I was, like, pretty healthy. I just wouldn't say I was, like, completely confident in, like, myself, and maybe I wasn't, like, completely happy with myself. And I think I was getting there, for sure. And I think that as the year went on, I got better about it. I think maybe about halfway through the year, I really, like, learned to love myself a lot more. And that's hard because people can tell you to love yourself, and people can tell you how great they think you are and how much they like being around you, but it's hard until you really, like, see it.
Yeah.
And
until you, like, feel it, like, you need to be...
Yeah, and I think you can, like, really... You just become, like, more... I think successful is a good word for it, but, like, it's easier for you to get work done, I feel. For me, at least. It's easier for me to get work done. Like, if I'm not happy with myself, I spent so much time last year where I probably should have been doing my schoolwork. And I spent so much time, maybe it was doing my hair. And I'd wake up an hour too early before classes to do a full face of makeup to wear for 2 hours. And, like, that type of thing. And making sure my outfit's perfect. And that's okay to want to look good and feel good. And, like, certain people, I feel good with a little bit of concealer, powder, and blush and bronzer and mascara on. Like, a little bit of makeup, like, light makeup. Like, some people feel better with no makeup at all. And, like, I think it's just important of finding that, but I think learning to kind of love yourself naturally, too, is a big thing, because there were times last year that I would not want to go to class because I felt like I wasn't, like, put together enough, too. Whereas this year I'm going to show up. And that's good. And that's really good. And I know, like, in high school I was like that, too. I'd just show up, whatever. Didn't care. And then I kind of hit a dip where it mattered.
Yeah.
It was like the world was going to end if not.
I was definitely, like, in high school, I did not care at all. I literally showed up in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, like, every single day. And as, like, I came to college, I kind of realized that, like, if I want to feel better about myself, I should put, like, a little bit of effort into what I wear, and, like, if I do my makeup or if, like, how my hair looks, because I'll just not only, like, look better to myself, but feel better. And another thing that's helped me feel better, like, in my own body is going to the gym. Because, like, for years, like, all through middle school, high school, I played soccer or did swim. And, like, obviously, I'm not going to look the same as I did at 16 years old when I was playing 2 sports as I do now as a 21-year-old. And I'm only weightlifting. Like, I'm not going to look the same. And it's definitely something that I struggled with my freshman and sophomore year of college. Because freshman year, like, I was living with all athletes, and, like, it literally made me want to join the soccer team again, even though I had been so burnt out by the end of my senior year of high school. And I am forever grateful for my fiance for showing me, like, for introducing me kind of to the gym and, like, showing me what I can do to be stronger. And, like, he literally is, like, my motivation every day, basically, to just be better. not only like in the gym, but literally everyday life. Like, he is so smart and so strong, and I love him so much.
I think too a big part of the of being successful, like Addie touched on, is look good, feel good.
Yeah.
I think it was Nora Smith, and if you guys don't know who she is, she's a TikTok creator, and she kind of went viral because, well, she's married to Lucky Blue Smith.
Who's a model.
Yes, and
She's also a model.
yeah, and they're both gorgeous people, but she makes this food from
Scratch.
literally scratch. Like, she'll make a Cheez-It from scratch. But she does it in these, like, nice, like, people have pointed out, like, these are, like, nice clothes. Like, she's not just in, like, your everyday, like, stay-at-home mom wear. Like, she's in, like, these beautiful, expensive gowns and dresses
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think it was, and people were like, what? Like, what's going on here? And I think she had pointed out that, like, she wakes up in the morning and she has learned that for her to be productive, she needs to do her makeup and her hair and have an outfit on. And if that's for you, then that's for you. Like, I mean, looking good and feeling good they really coincide more than you think.
Yeah.
You know, and it
Because I know that, like,
depends on person to person.
Yeah. Like, if I go to the gym and I'm not in an outfit that I love, I'm not going to feel great at
Mm-hmm.
all. And I'll probably feel really weak that day and not be able to lift as much as I could if I was wearing, like, a better outfit, like a color coordinated outfit or something.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you do need to push past that of, like, oh, I don't like my outfit, so, like, today's going to suck. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's
not
not-
all like based on outwards appearance. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's like look good and feel good, but that comes back to the truly loving yourself to be successful. Whereas if you loathe yourself, then anything you do is never going to be good enough.
yeah.
And
setting, like, really high expectations for yourself, it's great to have goals. It's great to have some expectations, but if you're expecting to get, like, I don't know, a 100 on a really hard math test, like, oh my God, that's amazing if you do that. But sometimes it really just, I don't know,
Yeah.
that might not have been a really good example because, like, some people are better
there's
at
just
math than I am.
there's
but-
sometimes there's goals that are unattainable, and it's important to recognize that yes, you can set them, but you can't hate yourself for not and put all your worth in not achieving those goals.
Yeah.
And I think that's where in the video she kind of talked about how viewing like mistakes or failures as stepping stones of growth instead of just like setbacks or something is a really big important thing of it's okay if something doesn't go the way that you planned it. I know I'm someone who is a very like planned person, and I'm really learning that right now with a lot of social media management that I'm doing. I'm quickly learning that I can set a calendar and set due dates for people and it's not going to be turned in, and that's okay because people have their own things going on. And at the end of the day,
You can't control
I can't get
everything.
upset. I can't sit there and get upset and feel like I'm not doing a good job at creating a calendar because others are not turning things in or maybe having trouble completing it. That's okay. That's not my problem necessarily. And I'm still doing my job. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. So now I want to move into the Instagram advice. Yeah, this is just a self-compassion wheel. I'm not entirely sure of the creator. So let's look at that. So the self-compassion wheel is from the creator unfollowing_mum. we're actually going to keep our phones open for this one just because it's got kind of a lot going on it. And so we want to like make sure we cover each point. So I think one of the ones that like stood out to me the most was they have a right to turn me down and do what's best for them. It's not a reflection of my worth. I think that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where I'd have like a meltdown if someone couldn't hang out with me.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of struggle with like fear of rejection, which like anyone will. So I think a lot of it has to do with that.
Yeah. One that stood out to me was, I may not be where I want yet, but that doesn't mean I won't get there. Just because, like, when I was in high school, I really did not think that, I don't know, I just couldn't, like, imagine myself in college, really. And it wasn't that I thought that I wasn't going to, like, get into a college. It was just I couldn't see myself, like, in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess I'm kind of starting to get to that point again of where, like, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in the future. And, like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing after graduation. I know, like, obviously I want to get married. I want to have, like, a family and kids. But, like, that's not attainable for me yet. And that doesn't mean I won't get there.
I think I relate to that a lot. I think a lot of my, like, I was thinking of it in, like, a different way of, like, struggling to feel like, I was thinking of it in the same way, but a different way.
Yeah.
Like, struggling to see myself, like, attain goals. Like, I'll set a goal, and I'm like, okay, but, like, I don't know if I'll actually, like, make it to that.
Yeah.
And that type of thing, and not necessarily vocalizing that to people in my life, but just to myself. And it's more of a self-doubt thing. Whereas I think that's where I think self-compassion really comes in of, like, but that doesn't mean I won't get there. Like, kind of, I'm forgetting that part in a sense. But pointing that out, I think the same way of it's hard to see yourself in the future, and I think that goes back to not focusing on the future too much.
Yeah.
That can be really detrimental to mental health and everything, because that can be a little scary when you try to think of yourself in the future and you can't see yourself.
Yeah. We had one of our friends last year was very, like, stressed about graduating, and, like,
she was really stressed about, like, where is she going to be at this time of year, and she's doing great. She's thriving.
She's amazing.
She's thriving. She's
she
a working
has a
woman.
Big girl job, a big girl salary.
Yep.
Shout out Kat Keenan.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things on this wheel are really important. Another two really big ones for me, which I'll start with one and then we can talk about it and just go to the other. I'm not meant to be perfect. I'm human.
Yeah.
I think that's really become something difficult for me because I've definitely hit a point where I'm like, if I'm not, and not necessarily in the sense of, like, looking put together, but if I'm not, like, completely feeling put together, and if I'm not, like, perfect for everyone in my life, I'm convinced that they're gonna leave me. And that's something that's, like, not healthy, and having that self-compassion of it's okay to not be perfect. And again, I really, like, I guess rely a lot on, like, my faith when it comes to this of course I'm not going to be perfect. And that's what God didn't make me to be perfect, and he didn't make humans are going to sin. And that's exactly why he sacrificed his son for us. So I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
The second one is that really stood out to me is I forgive myself for what I did when I was still learning. Thinking about, like, the past and, like, how I handled things in the past, I get really mad at myself and get really upset with myself. I mean, there were some girls in, like, middle school that literally I wanted to be friends with them so bad. And I did become friends with some of them, and I actually learned that before I was friends with them, whenever I'd go up and try and, like, sit with them or talk to them, and then I'd walk away, they would literally sit there and talk about how annoying I was. And I stayed friends with those girls after they told me they did that. They literally told me to my face, and I continued to be friends with them for years after that, until I was like, kind of learned that that's not okay to be treated like that. Like, it's okay. Like, I thought, like, it's okay if you think like someone's really mean before you meet them or something. I thought Addie was the meanest person in the world when I first met her. I had never spoken to her.
We literally had never spoken to each other.
It was just her RBF. And it happens, but yeah, I think that's a big part of having self-compassion and just in general being okay that
and
you are
recognizing
human.
Like when you have made a mistake and owning up to it, if you're like able to, like in that situation, that was not your fault at all. But like I don't know what I'm trying.
But like owning up to the fact that like I should have stepped away. Like from that friendship, it's not their faults that I continued to be friends with them. That's completely on me. Yeah. And so I think that's a big part.
Learning like your boundaries and when you need to stop taking like crap from other people.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of self-compassion too, is learning the difference between there's having self-compassion, letting yourself kind of like allowing yourself to like understand that yes, you may have acted that way or that may have happened. You may have been an awful person, but it's okay. You can like change, things happen, and you can grow as a person. But while keeping that understanding of there's like allowing yourself to get away with things, but also allowing yourself to understand you were in the wrong in some situations, and like understanding how to kind of take accountability for that. And
there was a situation like with one of my friends freshman year where I did not know that I was making her feel like I'm trying to remember. Basically, she like pulled me aside and we just had like a one-on-one conversation, and she said that she felt like I was closer with someone she used to be friends with, and she felt like it was like straining our friendship, and I didn't realize it. And she like was scared that I was going to choose that person over her, even though I actually had never met that person in person before. We literally were like online friends. And so it was just a situation where I learned like I needed to be a little bit more aware of how other people around me are feeling. And it was also one of the first times I've been in that situation. So it was a learning curve for sure. Yeah. And I realized like how I would have felt if like she had done that to me. So.
And it's like, it's hard when it's never easy, I think, to take like accountability for things. Never. Like, even if you know 100%, like if I just like walked over to Addie right now and slapped her in the face, and then I had to apologize to her. I mean, obviously that was clearly in the wrong there, but like it's still then sometimes it's hard.
Everyone has like their own. Everyone's like proud and like they have their own morals, I guess.
Yeah, and like ego to get over.
Yeah, their ego, not
like,
morals.
I think a big part of that with like keeping the self-compassion, but also get over yourself. Yeah. I think it's a good way to put it.
Definitely.
But other than that, I think that it all ties into our first episode of just being mindful of yourself as well as others. And I think a lot of it boils down to learning about yourself and a learning curve of growth. So, yeah.
And also remembering it takes time. Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight.
And to be graceful. Graceful? Is that the word? Give yourself grace.
Yes. Give yourself grace.
Other than that, thank you for joining me today, Addie.
Having me.
And thank you to everyone who has been following along on this journey. Have a blessed day.